are the three pain points that you see our ideal customer profile runs into when they want to strategize a campaign or create video content or design content? What are the main pain points? And why do these problems exist for them? And how do we help them?
I think the first one is probably the lack of a system or not having any system at all, really, for producing content at scale. So I'll give you an example. I gave a talk to a bunch of marketers and creative directors for Generate community. Shout out to Generate, which is a really great community of marketers here in Australia. And I asked the question, like, how many of you have actually got a system for developing your creative? And literally one out of the 30 there had a system, right? And by system, I mean you've either got some bank of inspiration, right, that is constantly being updated, so you're always hot on ideas, right? And content is really cyclical, so you kind of have to be adding to that all the time. So a research system or some type of system for producing the content itself. You know, we use Figma, we use After Effects because we're more visually content based, but having that is really important, like to actually getting the scale, right? Because it's either that or lots of people, right? And lots of
Mm.
people cost a lot of money. You know, certain people don't work together very well. There's personality differences. So I prefer the system part when you can get it, just because it can grow over time. It kind of productizes all the knowledge of the brand, everything you've learned about, the visual parts of the brand that work well, hooks that worked really well, inspiration that keeps appealing to you. So I think that's one. And it strikes me as odd because I don't think they're super complex to get off the ground. I think they're really tough to stick to and to maintain. You definitely need a team that's used to that and really wants to put in the love to them. But it just strikes me as odd as to how a lot of brands are even putting out their content. It seems to be a mad kind of rush, with the absence of a system to actually get it done. I think the second is not finding a happy medium between quantity and quality. So I think the quantity part, it requires like a lot of time in production and testing that you have to invest. And the quality part, it probably requires more like research and depth. And not everyone knows how to research, but I think there are some really good tools now for research. Even TikTok's like search function and ad library, I think is really excellent. Like I actually can't believe how much information they willingly give over. I just think it's a marketer's dream, really. Tools like Magic Brief as well is really excellent because you can search creatives from different platforms. There's a ton of marketers coming up on X which are putting forward all these guides on hooks they've gathered, or certain videos like across niches that have performed really well, that are 200 rows long in a Notion document or a Google sheet. So I just think there's just this abundance of resources that I don't even think was there 3 to 5 years ago, to be honest. I think it's really changed. So it's almost like there's too much information and you really need to distill what's great. But I think it's really about making sure that you're not just running toward quantity, that there's like a happy medium, if you can imagine it as a Venn diagram there. The third thing I'd say is a consistent planner or an architect. It's not the same as having a consistent creator. That's really good. Like if you've got a team member within your company, for us, that's probably Brandon here, that is making content for Vidico, who understands the story, who understands the brand. That's really great. Like you definitely want a person like that or a team that is doing that. I'm not saying or like slapping multiple creators or having variants. I think that's a really good thing. But I think that you need someone that's absorbing all the learnings because content moves fast. It moves really fast. And what you've put out in 1 month, you really have to be diligent in understanding, all right, why did that have a better click-through rate? Or like, why was that a better thumb-stop ratio? Or why did that have quite a long view-through there? And you be the one to actually take that into the second or third month, right? It gets really tough if you're chopping and experimenting with creators all the time. I get that the cost of production is really low and you can probably just afford to roll the dice, and lots of companies do. But I think you definitely need an architect. Experiment, use different talent, that's fine. But someone that actually understands the story and the previous learnings is really important. So I think that's a problem I actually know that like a lot of our customers don't have that person, in the team, or they don't have that agency yet. So those are three things that I would say are problems that our ICP run into.
Yeah, I'd also add to that, and what I see from marketers the most is they have this amazing, especially in Q1, they have this amazing marketing plan, right? And the execution and the speed of execution versus the speed of their ideas, like there's just a very big delta there. There's a very big difference where they have great ideas of what they want to achieve Q1, Q2, Q3, and they can be organized, but unless they have a team or the capability to actually execute on that, like all these deliverables start falling behind. And it's like the plan, you kind of revisit it like 6 months on or the end of the year, you're like, God, we've like planned for like 3 times the amount of assets or things to go out. So I think that the remedy to that is either you build a really, really strong in-house team of just absolute all-stars, but that can come with its difficulties to actually procure the right talent and get the right people in, and also synergistically like how they work together. You can have people issues, you can have people moving on, I've got to rehire this person, I've got to rebrief them, get them up to speed. That is like a constant kind of revolving door and can be a real juggling game. Some teams have got it like fantastically right. There's a lot of companies that have like internal creative, internal marketing and execution like all under the one roof, and they absolutely kill it. But for most companies that don't have that and just haven't had the time to build it or the resources, getting an agency or getting a partner to be able to do all those different deliverables and handle all the different briefs and all the different shapes and sizes. I think where I see marketers go wrong is often they have this marketing plan and they're going to someone for the video, then they're going to go to someone for the design assets and someone for the performance marketing. It's like, just consolidate that into one agency, because then they understand your brand, they get a deeper relationship. So every asset they create is backed and it has the context of their understanding of what you need, like what you're trying to achieve with your marketing plan, like who you're speaking to, the audience, and everything is contextual. So the work is just better. It's quicker to produce because we have, companies that come to us and we're trying to work with files and assets that another agency's produced, and there's always a bit of onboarding time and understanding and integrating with that. It's just slow. Like it's way too slow for today, like especially where quantity has become king. And quality is still important, don't get me wrong, but you need to have material up there. You need to be in the ether. You need to be talked about. And you just can't afford to have everything disparate and siloed these days with all the marketing assets. Like you need a marketing plan, and then you need one agency who can fulfill all of it and execute at speed.
Yeah.